quietly and follow along. At any point, click the pause button to catch up or take a break. Hey friends, today we're going to be making a unicorn collage. Take your white piece of paper, turn it to portrait mode. For this video, I'm just using regular computer paper, but white construction paper will work just as fine. Okay, so what we're first going to do is we're going to use our pencil. Now for the purpose of this video, I know I say this every time, I'm just using a pen so you can see it clearly. Use a pencil so you can erase if you need to. From the very top of our paper, we're going to come down the side about, I don't know, width of some 3 fingers here. And you're going to make a little mark and draw a line across. You're going to cut on that line. That line is going to be making a piece where we can use that for other areas of our unicorn, such as the ears. So if you want little ears, cut a little bit off. But if you want wider ears, cut a wider piece off. You see what I'm saying? Put that aside because we're going to be using that later. To begin your unicorn, we're going to start with the remainder piece and making a giant oval or circle shape, depending on your scrap piece of paper. Cut out that shape on the line and you may put your scraps aside. All right, here are my scraps. I'm gonna flip over my piece so all my pencil lines are towards the back. Let's put this piece aside. And now that we have our general shape of our head, we can come back to that skinny little white piece you have. And I want you to turn it again, portrait mode, long way up and down, y'all. From the bottom of the paper, find the left corner, take your pencil, draw a curve up, and from the bottom right, draw a curve up, connecting them so they kind of make a rounded triangle. We're going to cut that out, and this is going to be the ear of your unicorn. Okay, so here's our unicorn. It's going to go right up there-ish. I'm going to flip this paper over and do the same thing on the other side. Bottom left corner, curve it up. Bottom right corner, curve it up. Okay, and then cut it out. Now you have an option here, artists. If you want longer ears, you can make longer ears, skinnier ears, whatever shape ear you want. You get this piece of white paper to play and practice with. Okay, so there are my white parts of my ears. Okay. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to glue them and attach them to the head of my unicorn. To make things easier, I'm going to just flip over my unicorn head and apply glue only to the bottom edge of the ear, like this. And I can place them where I want. Okay, now this is going to teach you, boys and girls, to be aware of how much glue you're putting on and where you're putting it exactly. Okay, my glue only goes about there, so I'm going to make sure that's where it's going to go on my unicorn head. Because when I flip my paper over, if you're seeing a lot of glue above in those ears, ooh, we gotta practice some craftsmanship, guys. All right, this was the start of our unicorn. We're gonna slide this up and bring over a 4x6 inch sheet of construction paper. It's very similar to what we just did with our white piece, but at a smaller scale. So, portrait mode again. I'm gonna take about 3 fingers, maybe a little less this time off the top, and draw a line across. The top piece will be for the inside of our ears. The bottom will be for the muzzle of our unicorn, or the nose. Okay, I'm going to put the small piece aside for right now, and let's just focus on making the nose. Now, in general, you should have a longer side and some shorter sides. Make sure you're going to landscape mode. So whatever is the longer side of your paper, maybe left or right, it'll make it a little easier for you to draw this next step. We're gonna make a giant oval shape, whatever shape you can do. Okay, it does not have to be perfect. And then cut it out on those lines. You may then put your scraps aside. All right, and then you can see where it's gonna go on the head of our unicorn, just like this, okay? You can glue it on. Now, when you glue it, I'm gonna kind of look to see how much glue I might need. You can choose if you want a longer face for your unicorn, or if you like it a little shorter, whatever you choose, okay? But just be aware of where you're putting the glue so we don't get it all over the table surface. I'm gonna use my fingers to kind of mark where my glue ends, okay? Little art tip and trick for you. As you flip it over, then I can kind of feel the paper underneath my hands. And I can press it down confidently, knowing that I'm not getting glue on the table, because everything is above, the glue is above my fingers. All right, we're coming up to the final touch here, and that is the inside of our ears, to give our ears a little bit of dimension. And you're probably a pro at this. Remember, they're not going to be as big and as long as our white part of our ears, because this is the inside, but same process. So in the corner up, using the bottom edge, and then you can cut it out, and I'll show you how this is going to place on your unicorn, just like that. Okay. Now, if you don't like the shape of that, you can simply make it a little skinnier or adjust it for the next one. Same thing, bottom edge, corner up, and they don't need to be identical. Horses and unicorns move their ears in different directions, so they're not always going to be the exact same position every time. There is my other ear. I think it gives a little more character, if you ask me. I'm going to apply some glue to the back side of that pink rounded triangle and attach it to my unicorn's ear. All right, now we're going to make the horn, and for the horn you can use tan, white, brown. I'm using orange construction paper, but really it can be anything that you decide, okay? This is just scrap pieces of paper, so depending how big you want your horn, you might have to get a smaller or larger piece of scrap, okay? Our horn is actually a cone shape. It is rounded at the bottom and it comes to a point. So to show that, we're gonna draw like a curved line, starting from the left and curving up to the right. And how wide your line is, boys and girls, that's gonna determine how wide your horn is, okay? I want you to find the center between those two ends, mine's right here, and go straight up and draw a point. That point is going to determine how tall your unicorn horn is, and all you have to do is connect each point to form a triangle, just like that. And then you can cut it out. This is a rounded triangle, and more specifically, a cone shape. When we do curved edges, we are implying that something is coming towards us, and it makes it more 3D. Okay. Put your scrap aside, size your horn on your unicorn. Ooh, I'm actually really liking that. So, next what we can do is add the horn. I'm only going to apply glue to the bottom edge and place it. You can even put it towards, ooh, I like it farther down on my unicorn. That makes it look like it's more in the center of his head. So adding just a little bit of glue. All right, now we get to the final details, and that is his eyes, nostrils, and mouth, and the mane. I'm gonna bring over a piece of black scrap paper, and I'm gonna show you different ways that you can add details. If you don't wanna use any more paper, you're kind of papered out, grab your markers, crayons, or colored pencils, and you can do it that way. For the eyes of my unicorn, I am just going to create 2 circles. I know you can't quite see it on this black paper. You can use any color, but I'm going with black. And you can cut them out. Remember, they don't have to be perfectly the same size. There we go. And then for the nostrils, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to do them back. I'm going to go back to my orange paper just so I can tie in some of my colors. Rip off my extra scrap here. Now, for the nostrils on a horse or a unicorn, they're basically like a cone shape, but a little bit more rounder. So you're going to be pros at this. We're going to make a top point, and then we're going to come down at 2 angles and make a bigger curve. It looks like a teardrop. Okay, I'm gonna do that again. Top point, angle lines coming out, and a big deep curve connecting them. And then you can cut them out. Okay, that's what it's gonna look like on my paper. Alright, I'm going to use my glue stick now and put these into place. Okay, this next step again is completely optional, but I want to offer it to you. I found a little bit of my pink scrap paper left over, so I just want to create like a bottom lip to this cute unicorn. I'm going to find the top edge and I'm going to drag my pencil, making one giant curve as big as I can with that scrap and cutting it out, and you'll see what this looks like. I think it just kind of adds more of the characteristics of a horse or a unicorn. And I'm gonna run my glue stick along that top edge as well, so you can see what this looks like. Again, optional. Lifting my nose up and sliding the mouth under gives it dimension automatically as well, like the nose is on top of the jaw, just as it would in real life. Okay, there is my unicorn. Okay. I'm gonna pull over some crayons now because I think crayons are a great way to add color and make it really fun and unique. I'm starting with a white crayon so I can get a highlight in my eye of my unicorn. And I'm just adding a little like circle or part of a circle. Okay. If you make your eyes out of black paper, this would really pop. Okay, adding little highlight specks. You could do the same in other areas, like I'm gonna add a little bit to the nostril, just for fun. Okay, now let's go to the horn and other things. I'm gonna use a gray crayon, and I'm gonna go to the horn. I'm gonna go on the right side. Okay, I'm gonna start towards the bottom a little bit from the top here. And I'm gonna follow the bottom edge of the paper, but as I get towards the left, I'm gonna come closer to the edge, like this. That gives it appear that the 3D horn is twisting, okay? So from where I started, I'm gonna come up a little bit more, and I'm gonna drag my crayon to the left, and slowly getting closer to that point where I left off on my left side. Same thing repeated over and over. Okay. And that gives the illusion that my unicorn horn is a little bit more 3D. Okay. You can use your crayon in other areas if you'd like to add, you know, shadows or other parts of the nostrils. Or I'm going to take a line and make two coming down for his face. Okay, just like that. Now we get to the fun part, which is adding yarn, or you can do other hair with paper. Okay. For the purpose of the video, I'll do a little bit of both so you can see two different techniques. I'm gonna make this unicorn a little bit on the wild side, and it's gonna have blue hair because I have this awesome scrap paper. What you need to do is cut strips of paper. It can be any width or length that you would like the hair. This is going to be for the mane. I'm going to start out with 5 strips. So I can always cut more. Okay. And you could even have the mane coming down to the side if you want. You can add the mane anywhere around the side of the unicorn or in the horn. Things like that, or up towards the top, wherever you like. I'm just kind of feeling it out by placing my hair on my unicorn. Okay. So these are a little long for my taste, so I'm just going to cut them as I place them on the paper. All right. Now, if you want to do paper mane, all you have to do is apply a little dot of glue, put the strip of paper down the angle you want, push it down, give it a little massage, and take a pencil or a colored pencil, a small rounded cylinder, place it on the bottom of the paper strip, pull the paper strip up and wrap it around the pencil and continue to curl it around, pushing it down tightly all the way up until about halfway. Release and you will get some curly paper, some curly mane. Okay, I'm gonna repeat. Glue on my strip at the angle I want. Don't worry about the top coming over your unicorn's head. We can fix that. There we go. And roll. If you find your paper is not sticking, you might want to glue it all first and then come back and roll. Just give it some time to adhere. Okay. And I'm going to add this strip right here. Do another strip right here. Okay. And I'm going to just roll. Do your very best to keep your paper straight as you roll it. There we go. And for fun, I'm going to add one more to my unicorn. It's going to come down towards the center a little bit more. You can also overlap the paper. Now, let's say we don't like the edges sticking around our unicorn's head. It's kind of square. It might be a little awkward. Simply flip over your unicorn and carefully follow the edge of your white paper if you want to cut that off. This is completely optional. Okay. Some areas might be a little harder to get into than others. Just do your best. And there we go, it looks a little bit more cleaner. Alrighty, and now if you want to add a little bit of yarn, this is kind of a bonus. You can cut strands of yarn. Now technically, artists, a glue bottle might be better for this, but for the purpose of the video, I'm gonna just keep with my glue stick, okay? I'm gonna remove all my paper scraps, so that way nothing is gonna get tangled. For this, all you're going to do is apply a little bit of glue and take your strand of yarn and lay it directly in the glue, push it down on the paper, and then lay the next strand right next to it, okay? Until you used up all that glue space. There we go, and now your unicorn can have a little bit of both. Very magical mane. I'm going to cut more longer strands now for the side of its head. And I'm going to apply glue. Alrighty, there is my adorable collage unicorn, and we had a bonus of yarn today. If you don't have yarn, or it's on option for you, you can always just use paper and give it that curl. And don't be afraid to use different colors of paper as well for the mane. Thank you so much for watching, and have a great day.